Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we actually have some pretty crazy news where Spider-Man 2 actually might be literally banned, and as well on kind of why and what's going on and everything else in between. So we're gonna go talk about some pretty big drama when it comes to PlayStation 5. This is also coming right on the eve of the PlayStation 5 limited edition consoles actually being sold online, which is gonna be actually going tomorrow, or depending when you guys see this video throughout the next few days. So if you guys missed that, check out the video on the channel itself, or just at least be on the lookout for the PlayStation Direct. But it's kind of crazy to see because Spider-Man is going to probably be one of the bigger games, if not one of the biggest games of the year. And, well, the fact that entire, regions and countries might actually be banning the game itself is getting a little bit on the skeptical side. Now, I just want to let you guys know we do not have official full-on notice from PlayStation as of yet, but right now with a lot of pre-orders being blocked and everything else, people are starting to get a little bit on the worried side. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. Give me your thoughts and comments down below. We also have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well if you guys want to follow, and let's dive on into the video itself. So we have some pretty intriguing stuff. So as you guys know, not every area is like America or like the traditional UK, Australia, Canada, or whatever, where some countries, such as maybe China, the Middle East, or even like a place like India, etc., have a slightly different rule set when it comes to regulations, the regulatory bodies on who they approve the video games, what they allow in video games, and everything else in between when it comes to media. I'm sure throughout the years you guys have heard about things like, say, China blocking certain movies or not allowing certain games, or if there's too much blood or things like maybe like homosexuality, they actually might get completely banned in certain regions, in certain places, depending on the religion and all of that. And this is kind of looking like this might be the problem we hear for the Middle East. Now, very first and foremost caveat, we've been seeing some conflicting stuff on it, so we're going to have to wait for the official Sony post or when the game fully does come out, so take everything right now with a grain of salt, obviously. But right now we're seeing major news reports, Reddit reports, and also regional reports that looks like Spider-Man 2 actually could be potentially banned or even just delayed now in the Middle East, where a lot of fans are reporting being unable to even pre-order the game itself in now a number of certain different countries, and a lot of folks are not really sure what's going on when it comes to Spider-Man. So it looks like the Marvel Spider-Man 2 could be the latest entertainment property to fall foul of Middle Eastern censors, resulting in a potential ban or a delay in the game's release. So as you guys may or may not know, right now we have a lot of big pre-orders being pushed, both for limited editions, controllers, and everything else. And tomorrow is gonna be a big release wave too. So publisher Sony started taking pre-orders for the PS5 game last month, shortly after announcing a Marvel Spider-Man 2 release date of October 20th, 2023. However, now users in multiple Middle Eastern countries, including Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Kuwait, have reported being unable to pre-order the PS5 sequel at all. I'm going to show you guys the pictures in a second. Spider-Man 2's age rating has reportedly been removed from local PlayStation website listings for the game, some of which are currently displaying it as release date as October 20th, while also stating release date to be determined. So we're going to show you guys some of the screenshots, because I do believe these are the actual official, this is like the official website. So as you guys know, there is a PlayStation.com, PlayStation Direct, but it's also on the regional side. So some regions are obviously PlayStation Direct for Canada, PlayStation Direct for Japan. So it's more of the Middle East. You guys can see the ENSA, like maybe Saudi Arabia, maybe? I'm not really entirely sure for the links themselves. Just know it's from the Middle East. And this is also saying Marvel Spider-Man 2, the game itself, announced. So we know it's officially announced. Add to wish list release date, which is still confirmed. It's the same thing. It should be a global release in China, Japan, America, Canada, Brazil, whatever. But as you guys can see on the website, on all these various locations, you guys can also see, you see how it's English SA, English AE. So basically, you can see just different, on the very top links, different areas. And as you guys can see in these regions, all the release dates are still to be determined. And this is for the pre-order. At a certain point, people actually have been able to pre-order the game itself, and so far it seems like, well, right now a lot of people are just not in luck. People are just not able to even know when the game is coming out in the first place, too. So it's been claimed that the game's release could now be delayed, while there's going to be content maybe potentially being censored to adhere to the local customs and values. And then basically the articles and stuff have reached out to Sony to clarify if there's any issues, and so far, I mean, they could be clear. So I'll let you guys know right now, there could be potentially zero issues, but as of right this second, no one really knows. But there is another big caveat, where Sony's animated movie Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse was actually blocked from release in the United Arab United Arab Emirates. There we go. I'm always bad with the names too. Last month, actually, for failing to meet local censorship laws, partly because they have a Protect Trans Lives poster, which briefly appears in the background of one frame, according to The Hollywood Reporter. And also the fellow PS5 exclusive Final Fantasy 16 was also recently banned in Saudi Arabia after publisher Square Enix reportedly refused to modify the game to meet the censorship requirements. So this is some crazy stuff. Like, I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Obviously, just be respectful, but it seems like this is not like just an isolated issue. If you guys, as I mentioned before, some places have like certain values that they don't, maybe don't necessarily agree with them. Obviously, just like how their local law, legislator, religion, or whatever it might be to go in, like, just, this goes for the entire planet. I'm not trying to single out any region, obviously. But when it comes to this, there's always a big issue with that. Like, because sometimes if you want to ship a game or a movie or even other different types of media content, sometimes it's just not allowed to be in these locations. Sometimes it's not allowed there just legally. And if the company wants to do it, as you guys can see with Square Enix, they may have to go and change up the game, whether it's removing certain things. For this example, they had like a trans lives poster. So they would want that removed because it just doesn't kind of fit with their usual government, regulatory, or religious values for the area itself. They just do not want to promote that. They don't encourage that. They do not want to sell that to their overall community. Because don't forget, not every area is like America, all that type of stuff. And that's one big thing to note because it already happened with Spider-Man. So this is Spider-Man 2, the game. They're already having issues with Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which once again, if you go and have a game that's specifically banned on the same movie that just got banned, yeah, that's going to probably have a double whammy right there, pretty hardcore. And as well, there also was other various things such as the Final Fantasy 16, where these games are literally getting banned in these regions because they just don't want to sit alongside it. Now, is this kind of usually the end of the world? I'd probably say no, just because sometimes games either have their own morals and values they want to stand by, whether it's telling a story, or they like physically know the person the character is based on, or they want to have like different types of things like representations inside their games, all that type of stuff. But then also part two is that sometimes the market is just a lot smaller. Like if you can focus on the United States market versus, let's say, the Saudi Arabian market, you're going to probably want to prioritize the, well, American market or Chinese market if they allow it, or like say Australian, Canada, UK, because everyone already knows that these regions are the big heavy spenders when it comes to games and basically people who bought the consoles, most of the install base, and everything else in between. So right now we're kind of in this awkward thing because we don't know if the game is going to be fully banned or not. We don't know if it has to be more censored or not. We don't know if Sony themselves are going to be changing it for the region or not. But it's crazy too because people actually have been on top of this, like saying some folks as well. Like just, yeah, there's like other little even like Reddit threads too throughout the past month or so. These are making more notes saying, I want to pre-order the standard edition of the game from the PS Store, but it just says release date to be determined. I live in the Middle East if it helps. And other folks have had kind of conflicting stuff. Some folks are saying like, for this one, some people are saying like, yeah, like I have like my pre-order from before I even got banned is still ongoing. So they don't necessarily know if the game's going to go for them or not. Some folks have apparently reached out to Sony too as well, and they were like, hey, could you go and please give me give me some actual updates over here? Like, what's going on with this? We've had some people say it's not going to be banned. They should expect it back in the store. We've had some people saying it still hasn't shown up in the store in the first place. We've had some media outlets go and stand that like it's not going to be there. We've had like a lot of conflicting stuff that we kind of need an official statement from Sony. Some of this type of stuff is even some folks are asking for refunds, and they did officially get their refunds for the game, the $80 games themselves too as well. So some folks are assuming that maybe guess got refunded because the game is going to be banned in the region, so they just cannot legally sell the game, so they obviously want to refund the money. But of course, as well, some folks are just kind of curious on what Sony's take is going to be. We saw a few folks stating that they haven't had any issues, so there might be no issues at all. It might be totally fine, but it just kind of seems like it's a way bigger and wider spread issue than most people are expecting. So as I've mentioned before, just using like United Arab Emirates as an example, no hate obviously included, but like they do sometimes have slightly different law when it comes to just various different things. Like they don't necessarily enjoy like just many, I don't want to go too deep into it. I'm sure you guys have heard about it or ever, but like I said, sometimes their values are just not the same exact things. So they have certain things like specific genres of manga are like being banned, and other various types of other stuff, or movies or games or whatever it might be, fully just being entirely banned as well. So once again, when it comes to either the full-on ban ship, we'll have to see if Sony wants to go and maybe adhere to the rules and change the game for the region. We'll have to go and see if there is even a ban in the first place, due to some folks still maybe not having issues, because the game isn't out yet, so we don't fully know. And as well, we just want to know like what's going on with this, because it's kind of crazy to see multiple now at this point PlayStation games fully banned, and at the same time, it's crazy to go and see this either way. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below. Obviously, be respectful and all that type of good shit, but it's kind of crazy to go and see. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream down below. If you guys want to follow, actually probably live up on Twitch. We have the Amazon links too, and I appreciate you guys all so much for watching here in the first place.